Swap on the track right here.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Hey,
How y'all doing?
y'all.
Welcome. Oh, that's something new.
No, it's not.
Yes, you ain't never did that. You used to do. Well, you're welcome once.
I ain't got to that part yet. I don't know where.
So, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Marriage is Real. Tonight, we are going to talk about some good stuff. We thank y'all for joining us tonight. I hope everybody is getting ready for their Thanksgiving, getting their turkeys and all that kind of stuff.
It's hot.
Getting your deep fried turkeys. We actually switched back to smoked turkeys a few years ago. Somebody chime in and let us know where you're tuning in from. See who's with us tonight. But thank you guys for joining us.
Because it got to be smoked through and through. Like smoke got to go all the way through. Like you can't just be smoking on top. It got to be smoked to the bone. You know what I'm saying? Anyway.
And then you also got to make sure you get your honey baked ham. I didn't tell you. Guess how much we paying for the ham this year? $4.
You had a coupon?
Something like that.
Oh.
So that made me very happy.
We got the blood.
That we got the ham for $4. The honey, half a pound. I mean, wait a minute. Half a pound. No, it's 7 pounds.
Hey, Ben.
What's going on, Ben? Thank you for joining us tonight, good brother.
Hey,
yeah. So we're gonna talk tonight. So I know we probably have some people wondering about the title. And so tonight, what we're going to do.
Oh, you put a title?
I did. I always
put a title. Put a title, y'all. I didn't even know.
She just come in here and be cute.
I just come in here.
She be what you say, coming alongside?
Come alongside.
Yeah, you be coming alongside. Yeah, that's what she be doing. So tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to introduce you guys to a friend of ours. You may have heard of her or you may not have, but we're going to get y'all to meet her on an intimate, close level tonight. And since you are the person that coined the term, I'm going to let you introduce her.
So, y'all, I would like y'all to meet the incomparable, the infamous Miss Eva.
Eva. Welcome, Miss Eva. Come on around here. No, it really ain't no person.
It ain't nobody.
What is Ben talking about? He said Damon knows someone at Honey Baked Ham.
Probably do.
If I knew somebody, we'd be eating Honey Baked Ham every month for some reason.
They would.
Yeah.
That's too much ham for me.
Not a such thing.
I don't like the pig like that.
So tonight we're going to be talking about Eva. And so we're going to introduce her and just kind of give y'all some information about Eva. Do you want to?
And Eva is, if people are like, who in the world is Eva? Eva is an acronym. My friendly people, my lovely folks, y'all know we like to come up with acronyms. It makes it easier for you to remember things. And so tonight we are introducing Miss Eva. Y'all need to make sure that she comes to visit your home and that she stays there. Always have a room in your home for Miss Eva. And Eva stands for empathy, vulnerability, and accountability. So welcome.
That's Eva. Thank you, Eva, for coming. I'm looking in.
Appreciate you, girl.
So let's go ahead and get started. Well, you know how I do. I like to come in with the go in order. So what I want to do first is I want to describe, have a definition of what empathy stands for.
Okay. Y'all excuse me, I'm looking at my phone because my baby gonna be texting me soon.
So empathy is the ability or practice of trying to deeply understand what someone else is feeling in their situation, feeling as though you feel yourself. So
feeling as though you feel what?
Feeling as though you feel yourself, like you're feeling as though you feel yourself.
Mm-mm.
You understand that?
Feeling as though you feel it yourself?
Maybe I left out of it.
Yeah.
Feeling as though you feel yourself, like how you would be feeling in yourself.
Okay, so for me, it makes more sense if we say feeling as though you feel it yourself, whatever that other person is experiencing.
Okay. That'll work too. Thank you, baby.
Whoever likes Damon definition, go with that.
Yeah.
But for me, I need the it.
So you know, we talk to a lot of couples, and one of the things that we've seen so many times is that people, husbands and wives, don't try to feel or put themselves in the place or situation of how the other person feels. We get so bogged down and feel so slighted by what we don't think we're getting within our relationship. And that is such a hard place to be within your relationship.
Exactly. That's right. That's true.
So
I'm looking out for my baby. Y'all know.
So the thing one of the things that you really have to do is think about that other person. Think about how they're feeling. Think about what they're going through. Think about what they're telling you, what they're trying to get across to you, because empathy is such a very big part of having a healthy marriage.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do anything and have a successful marriage if you can't put yourself in the shoes of the person that you're with.
And I feel like empathy is not just, it's relational, of course, you know, in a marriage relationship, but it's good for you to have empathy just in general for other people. You know, that's what makes, to me, that's what makes for a good person is that even though you can't relate, or you haven't been through that particular experience yourself, you having empathy and not always just sympathy for someone gives you a different level, a different perspective on how to, you know, deal with that person.
Okay. And so one of the things that I said is to you go from ones to Hans, from from Jordan ones to Kohans, which means take out taking yourself and putting yourself in someone else's shoes is just something funny that I came up with.
Oh, I forgot you said, yeah, that's okay. I get it again.
You get it again. So empathy is important because it helps your partner to be heard. It's so important for your spouse to be heard, because the things that are unsaid can be some of the things that help you to not be in your relationship anymore, because you feel that person feels like they aren't heard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so important because empathy helps that person to be heard, to feel heard.
Absolutely.
Another thing about empathy, it produces intimacy. Mm. It produces closeness. Mm-hmm. And so it's important for you to have that conversation about empathy, having the empathetic conversation, because it produces closeness within the relationship. So it's important for you to have that conversation and to be empathetic, because it creates closeness for your situation.
Oh Lord, hold on, y'all. Excuse us for just 1 second. This child is calling us.
I'll let you talk while
So yeah, as relative to the vulnerability, we took some notes. And vulnerability, what I say, empathy, vulnerability, and accountability. So we know what empathy is. And somebody's, who is this? Who is this Facebook user? Y'all have to let StreamYard see who y'all are so we can see y'all name. Are those just for me, Curls, Jamie Rockin', or Jerry Curl? See, you have this is play too much, Jamie. You running. See, it's somebody that know me to say I'm running hot again this evening. Absolutely.
That's because she by me.
Yeah, that's what it is. The Lord, you know what this is? This is the reward of life. So I ain't gonna complain. I'm just gonna fan. I'm gonna drink my water, and I'm a fan. So anyway, what was we talking about? Empathy.
Let's talk about empathy.
Mm-hmm.
So another thing, what's important about empathy is important because one of the things you're going to hear me say as we talk tonight is empathy and grace. Mm-hmm. Grace is so important. Oh, I know. I kind of figured this who it was. What's going on, dog?
There you go. You know I can't stand you, but listen. You want me to lie to you or make it fly to you? Oh Lord.
But
Okay.
so basically, you have to give as you're going through this process and learning how to uh, engage and walk in empathy. You have to give your partner grace based on the conversation that you're having with them, of what you're wanting to see from them or have them to work on. So,
Mhm.
grace is kindness, forgiving, and mercy.
Make it fly to you. That's what I'm saying.
She talked about it, but she over here quoting it like crazy.
It's just so catchy.
uh, and so another thing about empathy, as we mature, if we are doing the self work we are trying to do, you have to unlearn the negative things that you learned in your life. So you have to give a person uh, time, because think about it like this: if someone has been doing something, the way that I like to look at it is like if they had a shovel, and so they're standing in a field and they're digging a hole
Mhm.
every day,
Mhm.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Think about if you've been digging a hole for 34 years. How deep do you think that hole would be?
It's pretty deep.
That's going to be a pretty deep hole, right? So then one day comes along and this fine Ethiopian, Amazonian,
Wow.
Brazilian wavy comes into your life, and she like, bro, can you stop digging that hole? So you've been digging this hole for 34 years.
Mhm.
Now she wants you to stop digging the hole.
Mhm.
It's gonna take some time to get out of that hole. So you have to remember to give your partner grace
Mhm.
and empathy in the fact that they've been doing this thing for so long.
Right.
So if somebody been digging in their nose for a long time
Ooh.
and it's a habit, you know what I'm saying? One day they're gonna be like, baby, okay, I'm gonna work on it. But
Why you use that example?
I'm just saying, I'm just trying to think of some outlandish as usual. But if someone has been doing something for so long, you can't, because it bothers you or it gets under your skin,
Mhm.
expect for that person to be able to stop that thing overnight. It's just going to take some time. So you have
Mhm.
to give that person grace in that area and let them know everything is going to be all right, and that empathy is something that they're going to need, if they're listening and wanting to work with you and fix that situation. You got to give them some time to work through that.
Right. Okay. So that's empathy and grace. So we're also going to talk about vulnerability and accountability. And one of the things that we talk about all the time is that for males, vulnerability it's foreign, because it's not anything that is taught. It's not anything that's modeled for males, for guys. And then on the flip side of that coin, accountability is not anything that's really modeled for women. And when I say accountability, I mean accountability in the way of relationships. Of course, yeah, your mama taught you, you get up in the morning, you're supposed to be somewhere, you say you're gonna be there, you know. But when we're talking about these particular terms, we're speaking within the realms of a relationship. So for guys, a lot of times men, vulnerability it's a foreign concept, as is accountability. I hear a lot of men talk about the fact that they have an issue with women not being accountable for the things that happen in the relationship. And sometimes that accountability comes, but it may take a long time
And let me
for them to get there.
let me interject something here
Mhm.
real quick. When you talk about that, one of the things that we talked about over and over again is how a man's word is his bond. Like
Mhm.
if you think about all of the rap songs from the 90s and everything was word is bond, word is
Right.
bond, word is bond. But you didn't hear a lot of women echoing that same sentiment.
Right.
So whatever we say, and if you even thinking about it, if you even think about it, whatever we say, we're expected to do.
Mhm.
But a lot of times women aren't held to that same standard like a
Absolutely
man
not.
is.
Absolutely not.
So our word has always been our bond.
Mhm.
But the thing we have to do for our wives is give them empathy in that area,
Mhm.
because that's not how they were brought up.
Mhm.
If we did a survey because we did this when we spoke to the couples in North Carolina and asked them had anybody ever talked to them about empathy. Nobody raised their hands.
You mean accountability?
I mean accountability.
Right.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Accountability from a woman's perspective, accountability within, and I'm saying this again, within the realms of a relationship, a romantic relationship, like, because again, we've always been taught, you know, the guys chase the women. We want them to come to us. You got an issue, something happens, we get into it. You know, as quiet as it's kept, I'm gonna be y'all know I raised my hand first. I want him to come and apologize. I want him to come find me, come look for me, come show me that you don't like the fact that I ain't talking to you. Like, make it known, make it seem like it. You know what I'm saying?
Even if I ain't wrong.
Even if it was my fault. Not saying that I'm not saying that I know that it's not my fault. I'm just saying that as a woman, we just appreciate and we like the fact that there is still that, you know, that you still will come to me or come to her, if you will.
Mhm.
On the same side of that, I mean, on the flip side of what you were saying, as far as vulnerability, we have to give men empathy and grace because that wasn't modeled for them. The only thing men and guys and boys heard, even now, suck it up, be a man, boys don't cry, woo woo. And all that does is perpetuate the stereotype that men don't have no feelings. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, men cry too. It's okay. A thug can shed a tear. You know? One thug tear.
One thug tear. That's all you get.
But I think that in relationships, a lot of times, that one of the biggest issues that people have is the communication piece. And the communication piece, and we were talking about this the other day, comes from, to me, that the piece, the vulnerability and the accountability, the way that we in our minds, I guess, define that from a man's perspective and from a woman's perspective. We were talking the other day about something. And I said to him, you seem like you have beef with this person. And I'm saying this because the defining a word makes a complete difference in the way that you have a conversation with your partner. Because we could be talking about the same thing, we think, but we could be having two totally different conversations because the way you define the word and the way I define the word is completely different. So I'm saying, you seem like you got beef with this person. So to me, if I got beef with somebody, I'm saying we don't like each other. We understand we don't with each other. That is what it is. We have an understanding. We ain't going to no dinners. If I see you, I'm grown. How you doing? I'm gonna keep it moving. We don't like each other. I love everybody in Christ, but you ain't my cup of tea and I ain't yours, and that's cool. And it came from a situation that we may have had in the past, and so there is beef there. There is some, and it could be a resolved issue, but it just ain't what it is, and it ain't gonna never be the same. You know what I'm saying? So that's my definition of beef. Like there is something there. We understand that we have an understanding about the fact that ain't what this is. Mm-hmm. His definition of beef was what?
I quoted a Biggie song. If y'all ain't familiar with Biggie's album, and he had a song called "What's Beef," and he said, "Beef is when I see you, guaranteed to see the I see you when I see you." So with me, when we was talking about beef, I'm like, "Oh, you talking about we finna get into some stuff, like we finna go to blows." And so she was like, "That's not what I'm saying at all." I'm like, "Well, that's what beef mean to me." So she really, I mean, us having that conversation really gave great context into us knowing, like, it's good to communicate and find out that we're talking about the same thing if we're going to have a conversation, have a response, and then try to work on our accountability, because we got to be talking about the same thing,
right, if
we're going towards a mutual resolution.
And once we define the word, okay, well, this is what I meant by this, and he was like, "Oh, that's what you mean. See, that ain't beef to me."
I said, "Yeah, that's just tripping."
So
y'all just tripping. That's
so in that instance, what I was saying to him was correct, but it's not beef to him. Mm-hmm. It was just unresolved issues, and we know we ain't clicking, right, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
But that for us could have turned into a whole big thing, because I'm telling him, like, one of the issue was vulnerability. Like, you don't seem like you know, are able to open up and tell this person what you feeling and how you feeling or whatever. You seem like you got beef. That's how it all happened. So, but I realized that vulnerability for men is a very difficult thing. There are some men that are more in tune with their feminine side, as they say, and even those men, in their mind, that's more of a or of like domesticative, things like, oh, I cook, or I clean up, or it's not that they're in tune with their feminine side where they're saying, oh yeah, I get emotional. You know what I'm saying? That's not really what you hear a lot of dudes tout. They ain't, shouting to the rooftops that they cry at night because they wife, this little woman hurt their feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like what? And so then on that same the direct parallel is women with accountability. Although we have resolved this issue, did you ever say to him, I'm sorry for this, and I see the error of my ways, and I see that I did this to you. This was me. Like, do you say that? Maybe y'all do, but I didn't. I wasn't. And the thing is, it wasn't even malicious.
Yeah,
I just in my mind, I just was like, well, we good. We done made up, we done. But it was like, you never really you might say, oh, I'm sorry that we got into it, or I'm sorry, but you never take accountability for the piece that you played in it. Mm-hmm. And so that brought up a whole other conversation that we'll talk about later on. But you have something to say?
No, I was just gonna say that because you're talking about vulnerability, right?
I'm talking about it all. Vulnerability, accountability, all of them.
Okay.
Miss Eva, but she in the house tonight.
So a thing that's so important about vulnerability is that it creates a space for uncomfortable conversations. Mm-hmm. In order for you to be and feel free enough to be vulnerable, you have to know that at the point that you're able to do that, then you can have some of those uncomfortable conversations. Right. But as it said, you want a safe place or a safe space in order for you to have those conversations, both men and women. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because ladies, let me just say this. Wives, let me say this. If your husband finally gets to a point to where he's really willing to be vulnerable and open with you, mm-hmm. don't shut him down. Don't clown him. Don't tell him, you weak, or you a sucker, mm-hmm. or nothing like that, because mm-hmm. that might be the first and the last time that you hear him be vulnerable. Mm-hmm. Because what was taught to us was you keep your emotions, you keep your emotions mm-hmm. and you bottle them up, and then you just pack them away. Mm-hmm. And then you just let it sit there.
And then even if you do, even if he does open up to you and he's vulnerable and you don't say anything to him at the time, don't come back and clown him later. Right. Make a joke about it later. Oh yeah, because remember that time when you was crying your little one thug tear because we had got into. Don't do that. Nah, because there's still I'm a hold on, and that's it. Now the vault it has been locked away into the vault, and no more vulnerability comes your way.
Right. Because vulnerability is very foreign to us. Right. It's not a common practice within the manosphere.
Because a lot of times it hasn't been modeled for either one of us. A lot of people didn't come from a household of marriage, and then some that did came from it was a defective model, as I like to say. So you definitely don't want to recreate those tendencies. You don't want to, as my mama say, live what you learned. So you have to create your own culture in a lot of those situations. So the first thing that we talk about when it comes to accountability is introspective, looking within yourself. Because how can you be accountable for something if you don't even know that it was wrong? Mm-hmm. Because if everything you do is right, you wrote the book, you printed the book, you wrote the story, you came up with the concept, then you reading and writing your own press. So how do you know when something is awry or something is amiss? And this person, and that's why it's important to know who you're with, because this person is supposed to be able to help you to be better. You know what I'm saying? And if they are telling you something, if they have goodwill towards you and they're telling you something, you can't just dismiss me. I don't do that. I ain't like that. But why are they saying it? You know what I'm saying?
Right. And then let me also add something to that, because like in your example about writing the book, reading the book and everything like that, before that book goes to press, you have someone that's called an editor
Mm-hmm.
or a proof person that goes through and checks the book.
Mm-hmm.
In accountability, it's important to have an accountability partner,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of if it's your spouse or not, someone that will give you good godly counsel
Mm-hmm.
and will talk to you and tell you and pull on your coattails and say, bro, you was wrong.
Yeah.
The way you said that, what you said to your wife, the way you handled that situation, you were wrong for that. And you need to go to her and make amends. And wives, ladies, you need to have somebody in your life like that too. Because one thing I've seen and I've learned is that if you're the person that everyone always goes to for solutions and for help and everything like that, you may have a tendency of thinking that you're right most of the time. So because everybody else comes to you and gets they drink at your well of infinite wisdom.
Not drink at the well.
They drink from your well of infinite wisdom. And so, but if you don't have anybody to tell you, you know what, that's good for them, but that's not what that is.
Right.
So you got to have somebody, whether it be a friend, family member, someone at your church, a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
A therapist is a really good place, because if you don't want to tell anybody your business, you can talk to somebody that's bound by law that they can't talk to anybody else about your situation.
Right.
So you can talk to them, and that's another place where someone can hold you accountable and help you to see yourself, because Jamie talks about that all the time, about how we don't see ourselves.
Oh, no.
And a lot of times other people are how we are able to see ourselves, because
Absolutely.
I'm finna put it on blast real quick. So I'll be like, oh girl, you so fine. You so
man, don't
fine.
do that. Don't even do that.
And she'd be like, what? And then you know how women be looking in the mirror, they go like this. They be doing that. They be doing like that.
No, I don't.
And I was,
no, I
you
don't.
be doing it too.
I don't know what that
Yes,
is.
you know how y'all be looking over the shoulder like this. I'll be like, that's all right. I'll look for you.
In the mirror?
Yes, like when y'all trying on clothes, y'all go like this. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
You know, the over the shoulder look.
Okay. Yeah, but okay.
Yeah, they be like, they do that.
Get to the point.
So anyway, because I have a different perspective, I can validate her fineness. So I'll be like, girl, yeah, you
This
right.
is not a good example.
Yes, it is.
No,
I'm
it's
helping
not.
the men, because that makes sense. So, but it's just a show to show you having a different perspective of things can help you to see something that you may not be able to see yourself. Like another thing, you could have a big piece of string on the back of your dress that you don't see.
Right.
So it's just about perspective.
Right.
Sometimes the perspective of how we view ourselves is tainted of our own self-view.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Or what you believe about yourself.
Or what you believe about yourself.
Yeah.
Because one thing we say all the time is self-mastery takes a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
So as you're going through these times in your life, realizing that I may need some work in that area or something like that.
Right. And accountability over yourself. I'll say this is something I wrote down because I was talking about introspective. So accountability over yourself is a first step for healing and restoration for your marriage. If you can first take accountability over you and what you do and the things that you do. People say, oh, it started in the marriage, it's about the other person. You got to be all about them. It starts with you. You first. Because if you ain't right, you're going to always be pointing the finger at this other person because you don't take accountability for none of your mess, none of your trash. You know what I'm saying? So if you can take accountability over yourself, sometimes you'll see some of the things that you had issue with or you took issue with in the past. It was you. You was the problem. I'm not going to say all the time, but sometimes it was you, and it could have been a lack of understanding. It could have been wrong thinking. It could have been, like you said, the perspective of how you see yourself. So if you can first look within yourself and take accountability for your own habits, bad habits, wrong thinking, how you treat this person, because one thing about it, we all know the areas that we need work on. We all know them. Everybody knows, oh, I'm too lazy, or I need to start exercising more. I really need to stop eating so bad, or I'm the type of person that is impatient, or whatever it is, you can fake it till you make it. Some people be like, oh, you're just the most, the happiest person, but they don't know you go home and cry every night. So only you know what's really going on inside of you. So you take accountability over you first. That's gonna help with any relationship you in, especially your marriage, because that's the closest relationship that you have. Well, it should be
That child.
that you have. Anyway, it should be is what I'm saying. So, dang, I said that I was finna tell a story about something we was talking about earlier. What was it? You made a comment about.
But you being fine.
No.
She don't like she.
I mean, anyway, let's not even go down that road. But yeah, take accountability over you first. Look within yourself, and then once you realize, because the thing that I say all the time, I know y'all done heard me say it 1,000 times on this live, is that I pray to God to show me myself. Once you start to see you, and you see a mirror reflection back of the things that you do, I had to apologize. Like, that was me. My bad. That was on me, because I thought I was right. I thought I was good. I thought I was, whatever. But you start to realize that you cannot, there can't be a breakdown of a relationship with just one person, because a relationship is two people. So there's a part that both people play in whatever it is, whatever that issue, may be. And then on the vulnerability side, I know that a lot of times with men, women we want you to open up, and we want men to, be sensitive, and we want you to, lay it all out there on the line and tell us how you feel. But then you hear a lot of these other women saying they don't like for men to cry. It makes him seem weak. It makes him seem, whatever. So it's like trying to find that balance between how can I be honest? Because even if you're having to be honest with your spouse or your mate and tell them something about themselves, that takes a level of vulnerability too, because it may be embarrassing, or I hate to say embarrassing, but it may make you feel some type of way, because what you're about to tell them could be hurtful.
And let me interject something right there, guys. Vulnerability doesn't mean you have to cry. It's just some people may, and there's nothing wrong with that either. But for you to be vulnerable doesn't mean you have to cry.
No, that vulnerability doesn't even mean tears at all. It just means a level of truth and honesty. Didn't you read the definition of vulnerability?
No.
Oh, maybe. Oh, that was grace and empathy, right?
Yes.
Okay. Look up the definition of vulnerability so you can read it to the people so they can know exactly what it means. But vulnerability, there is so much strength in being vulnerable. But the key to vulnerability is knowing that you have. Why you don't do it on your phone, baby?
Baby, let me do this. Thank you.
Because I'm not gonna be able to see what I'm trying to see if you do this.
You gotta see the talk.
This I need to see this.
What you need to see?
Just pull it up. Anyway, what was I saying? Vulnerability is. What was I saying? You made me forget.
I didn't.
Vulnerability is not weakness. It's a strength, because it takes a level of strength to be able to be open and honest with someone. But that's what I was saying. The key to vulnerability is making sure that whoever you're opening up with has earned that truth and has earned the right to have access to your vulnerability. It ain't just somebody you met at the grocery store. This ain't your co-worker. Y'all been working together for 3 months or whatever. Like, because depending on what you're opening up about and being vulnerable about, you have to make sure that on the other side of that the response, or that they're going to handle your vulnerability with care. Because if they don't, then that could shut down you ever wanting to be vulnerable again, but it wasn't even real, because you share with the wrong person, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and so one of the things we're talking about tonight is vulnerability within your marriage.
Mhm.
So hopefully your spouse has earned the right to for you to be vulnerable for them. And so
With them.
yeah, with them. And so just remember fellas, vulnerability does not mean weakness. It takes a lot of strength for you to be
Mhm.
able to share or be real or talk about something that we normally don't do.
Mhm.
So don't think of vulnerability as a weakness, because it's not, because it takes a lot of strength for you to keep it real and be real with your
That's
wife.
exactly what I just said.
I'm
You
just
just reiterating it
Yeah,
because you weren't paying attention to what I was saying because you
I
was pulling this
was.
up.
I
Are you gonna read
was.
it?
Yeah.
Okay, y'all. The definition of vulnerability is
In need of special care, support, or protection because of age, disability, or risk.
that
Well,
ain't it. No.
okay, how about this? Liable to, nope, that ain't it either. Um, vulnerable, what does vulnerability in women mean?
Oh Lord, let me just pull it up on my phone because
Let's
this is
go there. So vulnerability is ooh,
mm.
open to attack, harm, or damage. That's not what we're trying to say. Vulnerable, we just gonna say, is being open, keeping it
Right.
real.
You're basically vulnerability is a a level of openness and honesty where you risk possibly you could be hurt. And again, based on who you're being vulnerable with. That word is always hard for me to say. But anyway, um what I was gonna say. So a lot of times, going back to accountability, a lot of times you are unhappy. Oh, Lord. You're unhappy with you and what's going on within you, and you blame your marriage or you blame the person who's closest to you. So a lot of times it's like, oh well, um, you searching, you people go through midlife crisis, or you could be looking for your purpose, or you could be trying to find out what am I gonna do with my life, and it's easy to have someone or something to blame or to point the finger at versus again introspective and looking within yourself and saying, this is something that I'm dealing with, this is something that I'm going through that I need to figure out what's going on, because it's not necessarily the person you're attached to. Sometimes it is, but a lot of times we project what's going on inside of us onto the person next to us. And I mean that is as in, it being your spouse.
And so, what? Let's talk about some ways that we can practice accountability. One way that we can practice accountability is to involve your partner. So that could mean checking in with them. Accountability is a collaborative practice, so make sure you're involving your partner as you're working on being accountable.
Mm-hmm.
So check in. How am I doing? It's very important to be vulnerable. I mean, I keep saying vulnerable, to be accountable, and then but you're checking in with your spouse in that area of account. Excuse me, in account of accountability.
Meaning what? Just in whatever area.
Yeah, in
Just
whatever area it
how am I
is.
doing as far as like how am I treating you? Am I being kind to you?
Mhm.
Are we spending enough time together? Am I being attentive? Am I being engaging? And this is for both people, not just
Right.
women, not just men. Um, how is it? How is our sex lives? Is it enough? Is it not enough? Is it, why aren't we, should we more, whatever the case may be, but
Mhm.
actually having the conversation and taking accountability for what is or what is not.
Mhm. Another thing you got to do: assess your regular behaviors. Make sure you're giving your person grace, because you be tripping.
Mm-hmm.
If you've been doing something
We
for
know
a long
ourselves.
time,
We know ourselves.
it's not easy for you to let go of those things. So as you're working on accountability, you have to assess your regular behaviors. Like if you're triggered by the TV being on past 1 a.m.
Mm.
and you're married to a night owl, you might have to check yourself and know at 12:59 this TV still might be on. So understand and know what your regular behaviors are
Mm-hmm.
in the fact of you working through this process. You want to say something?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Um,
Excuse me.
Another way that we can practice accountability is to consider how your actions affect your partner.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Once you've identified a few regular behaviors, determine how they affect your partner. Ask your partner if they feel cared for, and which of your habits make your partner feel upset.
Mm.
So, so we're assessing our behaviors, but then we're also assessing our actions.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So behavior is a way of doing things, and the action is the
The
doing
the
the physical thing that you
yeah,
might
the
be
literal
doing.
thing. Yeah.
Sometimes a behavior could be something that you do on autopilot, but an action may be something that you do in real time, I guess
Mm-hmm.
you could say. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to ask your partner, and that's why this is so incredibly important. Through vulnerability, it helps you to become accountable, because I can say to Jamie, what action am I taking that make get on your nerves, or make you feel triggered, or make you
Mm-hmm.
feel angry at me?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to check with them, because, like she said, this is the closest person next to you that can give you the real, because you need the real,
Mm-hmm.
and not the way that you see yourself.
Right. And I'm kind of switching gears here. I am, but I'm not. Relative to accountability, a lot of also too, you have to consider if someone is mistreating you, you have to be accountable for being an enabler. An enabler if you're allowing the behavior to continue. Because sometimes we could know that something that someone is doing to us, around us, is not good. But because we are, I don't know, sometimes people try to play the victim, or you want to, what's the word? It's almost like you want to have a reason, something to hold over their head, like, because they doing me like this, but that their behavior is not right, and that the thing that they're doing is hurtful, that they're mistreating you, but you're just letting it happen. You are accountable for the action that you take or don't take in staying in the situation, or in allowing a person to mistreat you, in allowing a person to talk to you crazy, or whatever the case may be. And I'll give this example, although this is not relationship, but if you know that a person is drunk, and they've been sitting at this bar and they drinking all night long, and then they're gonna go and get in their car and drive, are you gonna get in the car with them? And if something happens, then you were accountable also, because you saw the behaviors and you just allowed this thing to happen.
Mm.
So I say that to say, on the flip side of accountability, there's an accountability on your part to speak up when something is not right, but then there's also an accountability to go to a person and apologize when you see the error of your ways as well. So,
That's
because
good.
we hadn't mentioned that part, I meant to say that earlier, but I forgot. So
That's good.
yeah.
I like that. I like that. Um, so another way that we can practice accountability is make changes that'll benefit everyone. When you're becoming accountable, and you've had the conversation, now we can talk about making the changes that will benefit everyone. So once your partner has told you what it is, now you can work on fixing whatever that issue is that they're letting you know that they have with you.
Okay. Let me see. Let's see. I had some other notes over here that I wanted to say. Dang, it was something. I always be forgetting. Why do I do this? I don't know. I need
I don't
to
know.
do some what you call them things, some bullet points or something. Let me see.
She'd be laughing at my highlights, but they be helping me.
What was I saying? Dang, it was something. Form of I forgot. Anyway, it'll come back to me as we continue to talk. But So you're talking about accountability. You're supposed to be talking about vulnerability. You ain't even. I'm supposed to be talking about accountability. You supposed to talk about vulnerability.
Oh, am I?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
we supposed to be helping the people.
I got no
What
clue.
was that? What was I finna say? So I was going to say that I feel like a lot of times in relationships, people don't. How can I say? Um, hang on. I want to. I know what I know what I'm thinking, but I don't want to say it the way that I'm thinking it. I feel like in the relationships, a lot of times people don't take accountability because it can make them seem away. Because if I take accountability, this accountability for this could lead to me feeling vulnerable. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Like if I take accountability for this thing that I did, it could lead to me feeling vulnerable because it could trigger something in me that I already feel about myself. So for instance, if I feel like I am less than, like I feel like I'm a bad wife, like I just feel like I'm a trash wife, I don't do anything, I'm not supportive, I'm not submissive, I don't take care of none of your core needs, none of that stuff, right? So then if I know that you have an issue with me and you say, I'm trying to think of an example that's simple that everybody can get. So if you have an issue with me and you say, I don't feel like you support me in anything that
You're saying this to me?
Yeah, I don't feel like you support me in anything that I do. And I'm saying to you, yes, I do. I support you.
I'm saying that to you.
I'm saying this to you. I do support you because you feel like you have an issue that I don't support you as a wife.
Also, I'm saying that I don't feel like you support me.
Right, as a wife.
Okay.
I don't support you.
Okay.
And then Jamie is saying to Damien, yes, I do. I support you because I do this. And you start bringing up, you got all these reasons for why you are supportive when this person is clearly telling you he feels like you're not supportive, right? So even if I know that maybe I'm not as supportive as I need to be, if I take accountability for that and say, you know what, Damien, you are right. I am not as supportive to you as I need to be. That's going to make me feel vulnerable because I already have my own issues within myself about me not being a good wife and not being supportive. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like a lot of times in relationships, and men don't throw tomatoes at me, but I feel like a lot of times in relationships, men don't always take accountability also for some of the things that they need to take accountability for. I'll take accountability for the things that's gonna make me feel like a man. Yeah, I took accountability for that. I told you that there was this, and this, right? But in other instances where you should have taken accountability for how you hurt this woman, how long this particular thing went on, yeah, you over it, but she may not be. And in your mind, it was a
pass in the night. We went through it and it's done. We moved on.
Yeah. So in your mind, it was a jelly bean, but to her, it was a watermelon, right? So you like, man, that was a long time ago. So you're over it and you've moved on. So you don't necessarily, because of what it is, right? Because of what the situation is. Sometimes a man, I feel like sometimes men, and maybe women too, but I know a lot of women that I talk to have this issue. The man doesn't necessarily take accountability to the degree of what the accountability should be. It's not just
so who defines the degree of the accountability?
I'm finna tell you. Because it's not just you saying, oh yeah, man, I know I did that, and I apologize for the way I was back in the day. That ain't it. You know what I'm saying? That's just not like, that's like somebody, hitting you with your car, hitting them with your car, hitting you with their car, and then getting out and be like, oh man, I'm sorry I hit you. You good? And then they just get back in their car and they keep on going because you got up, even though and limped to your car. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't enough. What is the word? Effort or what's the word? Help me with a word. what's the word? Like
Effort.
it's effort. Yeah, effort. It wasn't enough. You didn't show enough.
Empathy.
There you go. Empathy, sympathy, concern. None of that. You just said, "Oh, I'm sorry," and you got back in your car and you drove off, right? But you don't know you left me
Injury.
with injuries, doctor bills. Couldn't take care of my husband. Couldn't take care of my kids. I couldn't go to work for 6 weeks. I lost my job. Like all of these things happened to me as a result of you hitting me with your car, and then you just said, "Oh, I'm sorry." And then you get to go on and live your life. And now I got to be like, okay, well, let me get myself together. I got to go to rehabilitation. I got to go to physical therapy every day. You know, all of this. But you feel like you took accountability for it.
And I think
because you addressed it, because you said something.
And I agree. And I think also to a degree, that's when, on the flip side of that, that's when we have to also give our partners grace, because the fact that they acknowledged it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, yo, I hit you, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I think that we want whoever committed the offense,
Mm-hmm.
we want them to relish in whatever it was that we felt like they did to us.
And it's not and that's the thing. I'm not saying for you to relish in it, but there is like I said, there's a degree to which you show true accountability. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're truly genuinely apologetic, and you are truly genuinely taking accountability for this thing because you really care, and not just to say you took accountability.
Mm-hmm.
See, there's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to just say you took accountability, or are you taking accountability? Because sometimes when you take accountability for something,
mm-hmm.
it's in steps. It's not just you saying, "Oh, I acknowledge this." No, okay, well then, if you know that this is something that you did,
Mm-hmm.
how are you being accountable for what you've done? You know what I'm saying?
I think that's when it's important for you to consider how your actions affected your partner. And that's why it's important for you to have that conversation, because, I think personally that a lot of men aren't going to know that without having that conversation with their wives. Because for us in man world, if I hit you with my car, oh, he got up. Oh, my bad, bro. I didn't mean, you good? You said you good? Okay. See, at the point that you told me that you good. Oh, do you want me to help you back to your car? Okay, I help you back to your car. Can your right foot work so you can drive? Do you need me to drop you out there?
All this that you're saying right now, it don't go that. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't go to that level. It's you good. Okay.
Right.
Then you get in the car. Now, what you're saying after, there's more to the accountability than just the acknowledgement, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
And I'm saying that because, like you said, a lot of guys don't know, a lot of people don't know, this is the point of us having this dialogue, is to say sometimes it's not just in you acknowledging that you know you did it. We both know you did it.
Mm-hmm.
What is the process or the
steps?
I guess you can say steps, but what are the steps that you're taking to show that you are truly accountable for the damage that you have caused a person? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I know that I hit somebody, I'm gonna get your number. Let me see what I can do. Hey, I'm gonna check on you, because I really am not only acknowledging and taking accountability for, but I'm apologetic, and I want to make sure that if it was something that I did, that you're good based on something that I may have made based on pain or an injury that I may have caused you. So a lot of times in relationships, that doesn't happen. And so men feel like because they have acknowledged it, then I took accountability. I took accountability for that. I owned it. I said I did it. See, it ain't just about that you said you did it, because remember, to you it was a jelly bean. To her it was a watermelon. So you leaving this person carrying this watermelon for 16 years. So along with this, she's carrying this, or he, maybe say it might be a man. There is injuries coming along with that. There is like your back is breaking, it's getting heavy. It's a heavy load. And then not only that, there are other things that are happening. All whilst I'm still holding on. I still got the jelly bean the watermelon from the thing that you acknowledged, that you said, oh, I took accountability for that. Because if you really are accountable, there is more, sometimes there's more to it than just acknowledging it.
So then, like I said, I think for guys, it's very important for that to be defined so that you can know, because a lot of times guys probably not going to know what steps or what it is that you're looking for in this accountability that's going to help you to be able to release the watermelon, if you will.
And I'll also say this, and to your point, when she is, I know it's a lot of times maybe like, why she keep bringing that up? Because it was a watermelon to her, dude. It was a jelly bean to you. So yeah, she may bring it up. She may say something. So that's when you hold vigil and say, whatever it is, baby, I know that hurt you. Don't just skate by. I thought we was over that.
And so,
well, you know, she may not be over it yet.
And so, a thing that you have to also remember, guys, is that, you know, truth be told, when things happen, and we know, when you know inside yourself, like I said, you know yourself, you know you, when you drop the ball, sometimes you're embarrassed.
And that's the point that I'm making about being vulnerable.
Yeah. So sometimes you feel like you're embarrassed. It's like, golly, I messed up on that.
Yeah.
But it's okay for you, acknowledge it, but then, like she's saying, find out what it is that you can do to make it right, to make it better, so that she can go through the process of healing in that situation. He or she, as a matter of fact, of how you can help your spouse to heal in that certain area that he or she may be having that issue with.
Right.
So
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say a quote from Brene Brown said, vulnerability helps us to overcome our negative emotions quicker. And she said, shame needs 3 things to grow exponentially in our lives: silence, secrecy, and judgment. So to be vulnerable, you can't do those things. You gotta be loud. You gotta talk about it. You can't hold no secrets. And then don't be judgy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So throw that in there real quick.
And you know, just to the point that I was making, I just said that because I know we've had conversations about this. We have conversations with people that we know. I have conversations with a lot of women about this same thing. It's like, at the point that a man decides, okay, I'm ready to be different, and I'm ready to move on, and I'm ready to, you know, be a better person. And now I want you to
treat me like how I feel like I'm trying to be,
because I have made this declaration 6 months ago, but you don't take any accountability for what it's been over the last 16 years. So now you in your feelings because she ain't just changed and rocking with your tide because you've been away for 6 months. Right. You know what I'm saying?
And you've been the other way 16 years.
Exactly.
So that's why grace is important.
Right.
Give your wife grace.
And then also in that, when you realize, okay, this is 6 months I'm doing this, accountability. Because like you said, accountability will make you feel embarrassed because I want to just be over this because I don't want to keep talking about this.
Or I'm really sad that I messed up.
That too.
And I'm embarrassed.
That's what I just said.
No, you said over it. I'm not talking about over it. I'm talking about the embarrassment that you feel and how, if you have goodwill towards your wife, you messed up.
Right. I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. I want us to be over it. Like, stop talking about it because I'm embarrassed. I don't want to keep harping on it. I don't want us to keep bringing it up because of the embarrassment that I feel, you know? And so, of course, both people have to be empathetic for you to know that this man or this woman may feel embarrassed. And then the other person has to be empathetic to know this is why they are feeling like they don't want to talk about it. But you got to. It takes as long as it takes for someone to get over a betrayal. And it ain't just sex. It ain't just infidelity. It ain't just somebody cheating. There are a lot of ways that people can feel betrayed. It could be with your heart. You know, you put your mama and your sisters and your daddy before me. You know what I'm saying? You never have my back. You put my business out in the street. Whatever it is, betrayal is a betrayal. Hurt is a hurt. And sometimes it takes as long as it takes to get over that. But that's where the accountability comes into play on both parts, for a man and a woman.
And we don't get to tell a person what hurts.
Exactly.
You know, if something gets sore here, but it's not sore on me, and if I touch her here and she jumps, that's a sore spot for her, and vice versa. So you don't get to tell somebody, oh, that ain't no big deal. It might be a big deal. There might be some trauma. It could be a trigger that's attached to that thing that it seemingly is nothing to you, is a jelly bean to you, but she's sitting around holding a 15-pound watermelon in her hands because it's a sore spot for her or him.
Absolutely. And
Yep.
so a lot of times, guys, women mirror your energy. It's sad to say, but she may not be being accountable because you ain't being truly accountable.
Mhm.
You're acknowledging it to say that you're accountable, but are you being truly accountable? Same thing for you two women. We acknowledge it to say that, look, I was accountable. I said that I did it. Did you? But are you accountable for
How
it?
does that look? How did it
What
sound?
does accountability
Yeah.
look like
What
to
does the
you?
action look like?
Yes.
I said I did it.
I didn't say
Oh.
acknowledge it. I said be accountable for it, because in being accountable for something, you're also doing something to right the wrong, to account for, like accounting. I'm doing something to account for this thing that happened.
Mhm.
Debits and credits. If all this money that came out of this account, this bank account, what am I going to do to account for the money that came out to put it back in? So it's more, it's deeper, it's bigger than just an acknowledgement, is what I'm saying.
That's good.
So
That's good.
that's our time, people.
So we've introduced you to Eva: empathy, vulnerability, and accountability.
Miss Eva, y'all. She here to stay. Don't be trying to kick her out either, because she like Mary Poppins. She just be there.
So thank you guys for tuning in. Please make sure to go to follow us on all social media platforms under Marriage is Real. Help us to get up our
Marriage is
YouTube following and Instagram. Go out to Marriage is Real and subscribe and follow and everything like that. Holler at us at marriageisreal@gmail.com if you need to.
like and share.
Like and
all
share.
that
Share
stuff.
this content. Share tonight. Let everybody else get a chance to meet Eva, because they don't know her like we know her.
Yeah, you
All
don't
right.
know like I know.
Well, you took it back on that one. All right, good
Bye,
people.
y'all.
Thank
Deuces.
y'all.
And Trays.
In the wrong place.
Swap on the track right here.
Bottom.